Hello, Dr. James Bogash, expert in health and longevity, and today we're going to talk about exercise intensity and is there such a thing as being too much? In this particular study, they looked at 289 54-year-olds, which is spot on for how old I am, followed them for 6.3 years, and they looked at coronary artery calcium, or CAC, which is a marker that I've always loved. It looks for how much hardening there is, or plaquing there is around the heart arteries, and really good sign of how much at risk somebody may be. Now, those plaques can be hard, which means they're really not going to go anywhere. They're going to stay there, or they can be soft and friable where they can break off and create a problem. Our diet has a lot to do with those plaquing, but so does exercise. And it's very clear that exercise is good for us. But is there such a thing as too much? And in this particular study, they found that they compared moderate to vigorous to very vigorous exercise. And it all had to do with MET's metabolic equivalent. I can't remember what MET stands for, but there's different examples. But consider very vigorous as really intense. One of the things they found is that volume didn't matter on coronary artery progression over the course of almost 6.5 years. So whether you were exercising daily or 3 days a week or 2 days a week, that didn't make a difference. But the people that were vigorously exercising had slower progression. So in other words, their arteries didn't look as bad after 6 years. The very vigorous group, however, had an increased coronary artery calcium scoring. You think about that really shouldn't come as a big surprise. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of short burst. So I'm a big fan of very vigorous exercise, but in very short, distinct periods of time. And it's basically to induce hypoxia. We want to have the cells of our heart and liver and everywhere run out of oxygen so that they kind of respond better. Very vigorous exercise. So think of like marathon running. We know that if we do too much, it becomes a pro-inflammatory scenario that the body has a hard time recovering from. So, and just because somebody's exercising doesn't always mean they're eating right. Like that plays a role in everything as well. You can be a marathon runner and eat cheeseburgers and drink beer, and it's not going to be a good outcome, probably worse than if you were exercising less, because you have an inflammatory damaging state with the very vigorous activity, and then you don't have the repair nutrients needed for a good outcome. So doesn't change my thoughts at all. I still think short burst aerobic is still the way to go. I've never been a big fan of endurance running. Certainly there's a subset of our population that seems to do well with that. If you're going to be doing that, everything else in your lifestyle needs to be pristine. So no fast food if you're a marathon runner. It's just the reality of it. Otherwise you might be doing more damage than benefit. As always, I'll post a link to this particular study in the description. Make sure you like this video, share it with somebody who you think needs the information, and subscribe to the channel.